Hello everybody, welcome back to Ramblings of the South Stand. How are you all doing? I don't know if some of you have joined me from the Talking Shut podcast. If you have, hello. I watched the whole show, brilliant show from the lads. I'm straight over on this. I don't think it's going to flow as well because it never does. And I'm just going to give it a go. But this is our first sort of instalment of the Transfer Tuesday saga that we said we were going to do. So it's just really getting into it basically. But I want to go on about the QPR highlights anyway. Please, guys, give this video a like just before you tune in. But I'm seeing a lot of you just tuning in now, so you're evidently coming over from the Talking Shutter. But yeah, talking about the QPR anyway, guys. Bielsa, in my eyes, he wasn't really that bothered. I didn't give my post-match view on it. Hello to all you coming in. But he wasn't that bothered. And the reason behind that is because Leeds didn't play any big hitters. We had no big hitters on the bench. We had no big hitters in the starting lineup. Really, obviously, we had Ayling, Bailey, Peacock, Farrell, Alioski, and there was one other. I can't remember who it was. But we didn't have the full hitters out. I spoke to James Lawrence Alcott, who's the QPR fan, who was on the preview. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. And he was saying that they had 7 or 8 starters playing as well. And I think in that game as well, you saw in the middle, Luke Freeman and Eze sort of bossed the game ahead of Forshaw. And I don't really feel he ever got to grips with the game. I've just watched the Talking Shut podcast, as I just said to you guys. And Adam Pope was just saying, he was alluding to the fact that he didn't think Forshaw had a bad game. I actually disagree. I thought Forshaw had a pretty poor game, actually. But anyway, but if you look at the under 23s lineup on a general, it's the best under 23s lineup you'll ever see. It's the best under 23 lineup I've ever seen. Anyway, you look at the likes of when we've lost to Sutton, when we've lost to Histon in the past, when we've lost to Newport. Even more recently, like say under Christensen with Newport, when the 23s came in, Billy Whitehouse, Mackay, it wasn't very good. It wasn't a very good lineup. This lineup that we have now, they play football, they play the Bielsa way. It's perfect. So Leeds are really on kilt to good things. Was I bothered? I've had a lot of people ask me on my Twitter as well if I was bothered. Was I that bothered? I think I was just on a level of it being 3 out of 3 losses, and I was bothered about the mental game. I was bothered about Leeds going into the game and having an issue with the whole mentality side of it, us losing confidence possibly. But then you look at the lineup, we've got a bunch of under 23s on the bench. You look at the likes of Kuhn, who was on the bench as well, who's never even pulled on a shirt for the first team. You can't really be that disappointed, can you? You can't be that disappointed. But yeah, so that's kind of my views on the game. It'd have been good to get a win. It'd have been lovely to get a win. But at the end of the day, now we've got the Leeds focus on. Sheffield United got knocked out. Norwich got knocked out. It's not like we're 1 in a million. We've not been disgraced by that performance. Did I think QPR were the better team? I certainly did. I thought QPR were the better team. Did they have more first teamers out than Leeds? They certainly did. Did they have more ammunition on the bench than Leeds? Yes, they did. So when you take all of that into context, you've got to kind of bear in mind that it was essentially a bloody under 23 side against QPR, really, wasn't it? So take it into consideration. Don't blow it out of proportion. But yeah, as I said, I'm going to get on to Lewis Baker in a little bit, but I didn't think he sort of blazed the light of the game. I thought it was pretty poor, which was a real shame. So I really want Lewis Baker to grab hold of a game. That's all I want. I want him to grab hold of a game. I want him to get involved. I want it to be an option that Leeds can bring off the bench. I'd love Leeds to have that rotation facet and bring someone like him off the bench. He's a quality player. He's been involved in in the Dutch setup when he was loaned over there to, I think it was Vitesse, or it might have been Willem, I can't remember. But he was loaned over there earlier on in his career. I think he was about 18, 19. Then didn't really crack it at Borough either. And I thought this could be it for Leeds. I really thought this could be it for Leeds, but he doesn't seem to be grasping the chance. But I'm going to get on to, there's been news about him today, and I'm going to get onto that in a little bit. But yeah, Forshaw as well. I kind of wanted to touch on Forshaw. I've been asked on Twitter numerous times. I get some DMs from you guys, which is excellent. I love that. Are you worried about Forshaw? Because I do mention Forshaw a lot, because a lot like Adam Pope, who was just on the Talking Shit podcast. I think I've plugged that 5 times now. But he's one of my favourite players. I absolutely love him. I think he's a cracking player. He links play up well. The problem is he's replacing Calvin Phillips in that role. He's the anchor, Calvin Phillips. And what I love about Calvin Phillips is he spreads the ball so quickly. Leeds play very, very wide. He gets the ball out of his feet, spread it, and Leeds are on the attack straight away. And that's what I love about Calvin Phillips. Do we lose that when we have Forshaw in there? I think we do. But at the same time, I do think he's a quality player who's neat and tidy, sort of a Jordan Henderson-esque player. He won't give you much going forward, but keeping it neat and tidy, just protecting that four, he's very, very good at that. I just think Calvin gives you a little bit more. Yeah, so it does worry me a little bit more. Maybe like his past 3 or 4 games, as I've alluded to, some people think that he had a good game versus QPR. I personally don't. I don't think he had a very good game, and I think it was just the midfield was lost. The midfield was lost in that particular game, and it's just one of those really where I thought that QPR were better on the day. So you can't take too much out of it. But whatever we say about the result, did you guys find it bizarre that we took Halme off? Maybe he's got the Friday game against Derby in mind. That would be more logical for me, but Bielsa did say it was down to tactical reasons. But it was interesting how sort of the young Leif Davis, he was thrown into it and he was at fault really for both goals. Lost his man on the second, and for the first one he sort of brought him down for a penalty, didn't he? So it was interesting how the game panned out, but it's one of those really. At the end of the day, he's a young lad, he's going to make mistakes. We've all done it, haven't we? So will Cooper be fit? Is Cooper's going to be fit? I think if Cooper's fit, then Leeds go into the Derby game with a hell of a lot of vigour. I think we look a lot more assured at the back. We've got problems at the back in a sense of we don't have enough players fit. So I mean, what would you guys think? I mean, do you think Halmer's just going to come in? Do you think Cooper's going to play? I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure we'll figure out a lot more from Bielsa's conference tomorrow. You got the likes of the Barry Douglas injury. Is it a long-term muscular injury? Is it going to be a short-term muscular injury? It was we didn't really get the understanding from Bielsa's last press conference about what it is and what's wrong with him. But it's one of those where you're praying that it's not going to be a poor injury. But at the same time, you look at what happened with Tom Pearce at the QPR game. He brought off as he was substituted on. I thought that was pretty poor how that was handled. But, we all say Bielsa knows best, but I thought that was pretty poor how it was handled. But at the same time, Bielsa knows best. But will Tom Pearce, if Douglas does come off, if Douglas isn't playing, will Pearce fit in? I don't think he will. I think he'll go for Leif Davis. I do like Leif Davis, though. For the first time in a long time, the club have got 3 really good left-sided players, and it really makes you think, doesn't it, who he will start against Derby. But like I said, QPR, fair bit of depth. I thought Roberts played really well, and it'll be interesting to see if Bielsa turns him into that 10 player. We're looking at a number 10 player in this January transfer window, apparently, which I'll get onto a second, guys. A 10, a winger, and a goalkeeper. That's what we're praying, that's what we're hoping, that's what we've been told. But at the end of the day, will it happen? We don't know. I'll get onto that in a second. But Roberts did play really well. I also thought, credit where credit's due, Bailey Peacock-Farrell had a really good game. I think it's the best game Bailey Peacock-Farrell has had in a Leeds shirt. That's a personal point of view. I've heard a lot of people saying that they are standard saves that a keeper should make. Standard saves that a keeper should make, but people are going nuts about it because it's Bailey Peacock-Farrell. I can understand that side of it as well. But I also think he had a really good game. There was a couple of times where QPR went one-on-one, and there was a couple of long strikes from outside the box where we really had to stretch to get it. And I thought he had a really good game, I guess the issues with Leeds at the minute it's that the defensive problem with a makeshift side. Of course, there's going to be problems there. It's a natural facet. No other club has had the sort of injuries that Leeds United have had, so you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, really. But when we get Cooper and Berardi back, hopefully they're going to be within the next month. Obviously, we know Cooper could be back the next game, but will Berardi be back within the next month? I'm praying so. The only problem is for me it's Roof and Hernandez are sort of the only goal scorers at the minute. They've got Cleek's dried up, and I think the reason behind that is because the lad needed a rest. And I'm praying that when he gets back in Derby, he's fully fit, as the rest of the lads are, and we can really give it a go against Derby, and I'm sure we will. The only one bugbear I have about it is I can't really remember the last time when Leeds won convincingly. They've been very narrow wins recently, and I think the games that we've played, have we thoroughly deserved to win? I think we did with Villa. I think obviously the one that sticks out in my mind will be Sheffield Wednesday. But, on a level, I think Leeds have just got to get to those heights that we were at, and I think we can turn it right against the Derby side, who are poor, very poor at the back. If you want to know more about the Derby preview, guys, I'm probably not going to go into that on this video. I'm probably going to talk more about transfers and what I think and what's going on with the league at the minute. If you want that, then please tune into our previews. I've got a special guest on my preview, and I know Joe's doing a really good one as well as with Oscar. So keep in tune for that. One thing I wanted to pick up on is Cleek as well. I'm really worried about him at the minute. I'm just hoping his confidence isn't shot. He really seems to be, there's a couple of chances on the edge of the area against Hull and Villa in particular where I went to Villa away. And there was a couple of times where he could have pulled the trigger and he didn't. And I think it's ever since we sang that song. So stop the song. But who knows? It's one of those where you just pray and he gets his shooting boots back on, because that guy was lethal at the start of the season, with shots just on the periphery, just outside the box. He was he's instrumental. So I'm just praying he's back, fully fit and fully rested and back on it against Derby. But anyway, into the main thing that you guys are here for. Incomings. So what are Leeds looking at now? I've compiled sort of a little bit of a list of sources that I've seen online and who Leeds are looking at, possibly little rumours as well. So don't be looking at this, guys, and thinking that I'm an in the know. I'm not at all. I'm just a fan like all you guys watching. But these are just the rumours that I've compiled. I want to get your guys' opinions as well. I'm going to give you my opinions as well. So let's get into it. So the first rumour that so I'd like to initiate as well, that Phil did say that he wants a goal, that apparently Leeds want a goalkeeper, they want a winger and a number 10. I'm not 100% on the number 10 thing. I don't really get that. I think priorities should be a goalkeeper and a winger. The number 10, we kind of know who is in the number 10. We've got cover for the number 10 in my opinion. The wings and the goalkeeper is where Leeds need to look at. We have to find a replacement, in my opinion, for both. I think Alioski's had his best 3 or 4 games at Leeds. This season anyway, in particular, over the past couple of games. So he's been brilliant, but is that going to be a consistent thing? Is it going to be a consistent thing over the rest of the season? I'm not 100% sure. Do we need more depth? Do we need someone else to challenge him in that area? Do we need someone to run at defenders? Do we need someone who's better on set pieces? I think so. So hopefully that's what Leeds are looking into. One that fits that mould perfectly, Stefan Johansson, who's at Fulham. He was brilliant for Fulham last season in the Championship. Very good on the wing, technically very good. I went to Craven Cottage. I've been to Craven Cottage 3 times, and I've watched Stefan Johansson 2 of those times when he's played for Fulham, and he's really caused Leeds problems. He likes to cut inside, he likes to go outside, he can play on the wing, he can play in the 10. He can actually play in the centre of midfield as well. He can play up front, versatile, fits the mould very, very, very well. But will Leeds pay the money for him? It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely that Leeds will sign him, but Fulham have made him available for loan. So that could be something that Leeds go in for. He's very good. He's experienced in this league. He's been promoted with Fulham. He doesn't get played at Fulham. So is that someone Leeds could go in for? I've seen that rumoured today. But I've also seen as well that apparently AC Milan have inquired about him. So we're not 100% sure on that link. But at the same time, apparently Leeds are interested. So that's just a little source. Obviously, we go on to Stefan Zuber at the minute. So many articles about him, so many things that are spouting up, which are just evidently BS. Evidently things that people are just trolling and, trying to get clickbaits on and stuff like that. But that does seem the most genuine link at the minute. Ronan Murphy, who's a fantastic journalist. I think he's Midlands based. He's a superb journalist, but he's sort of who I've been following over the whole Zuber saga. He's a really credible link. He's a good journalist. So if you don't follow him, go check him out. But he said that I think he was the one who initiated that Leeds had interest. But the issue is Zuber is a Champions League player. He's played for CSKA Moscow in the Champions League. He's played for Hoffenheim at a high level. But the issue is at the minute he's not getting played for Hoffenheim. He's a Swiss international. He had Danilo on toast in the World Cup. Superb. And that's really where I first saw Steven Zuber. But the fact that he's that versatile and he's that good, he can fit into Bielsa's mould. But at the end of the day, is he going to be Bielsa fit? Is he going to be Bielsa's exact mould? He's versatile, but can he play Bielsa ball? Can he fit into that mould perfectly? A lot of people are reporting that he would be able to do that. And, it's one of those things really. Apparently, this is what I've just, this was on Twitter as well. Apparently, there was people at Bilbao looking at Steven Zuber as well when Bielsa was at Bilbao. So who knows, guys? It could be a credible link, but Phil Hayes also stated this today that it's probably one that Leeds, could potentially do. There's definite interest there. So that's a positive link straight off the bat, 100%. Westwood, Kieran Westwood. That's a really controversial one for me. Would he come to Leeds from Sheffield Wednesday? I think he would. I think I can't understand why no player would want to come to Leeds at the minute with what's going on with Bielsa. Leeds, if you do well at Leeds, as it was alluded to in the Talking Shut podcast, if you do well at Leeds, then you're going to be a hero. Of course you are. You are going to be a hero forever. So why not come to Leeds, give it a go? We're top of the table. But, Steve Bruce is coming now. He's pretty much playing regularly. Obviously, Bruce is coming back from his holidays, wherever I think he's gone. I don't know where he's gone actually. He said on a holiday he's coming back in 2 weeks, didn't he? But I think what Sheffield Wednesday are starting to do is they're starting to play him a lot more. I don't know if Bruce has requested that maybe he gets given a new contract, an improved contract, even though Wednesday are going through it at the minute. They surely need him off the books, but there doesn't seem to be that much interest there at the minute. There doesn't seem to be much speculative interest as well in papers. There doesn't seem to be any credible links there. So unfortunately, I think he would have been the perfect mould. So as yet, on the 8th of January, which, you know, let's bear that in mind, guys. We're only 8 days in. But 8 days in, I think that's not a goer, to be honest. On to the big one as well, DARLOW. I researched DARLOW a lot because I wanted to give you guys loads of sort of different sources, but there's no point. I think the rationale for DARLOW is Leeds want him for 4 million. Leeds want him, but Newcastle are putting a price tag of 4 million. Benitez has come out and said the only available goalkeeper is Rob Elliott, who, I mean, he might not fit the Bielsa style of play, but I like Rob Elliott. He came in for a stint for Newcastle last season, played about 10 or 11 games for Newcastle last season when the main goalkeeper, it might have been Dubravka, who was injured, and he did really well. But it's one of those, I mean, would Leeds go for that? Probably not. I think there's a main reason Leeds would go for DARLOW. He can play out, he's very good with his feet, he's very good, he's very commanding, he's a leader. So it's one of those, I think Leeds have sort of targeted the key attributes with DARLOW, and I think that's the reason we're looking for him, to be honest. But it doesn't look like we're going to be pursuing that. As I've said, it's only the 8th of January at the minute, so we've got a long time to go. But it seems like Newcastle are refusing to sort of, you know, give Leeds anything. We want him on loan. We can't have him on loan. There's a 4 million price tag. You know, Leeds can go get it if they want, and if they don't want, leave it. Take it or leave it, sort of thing. Jamal Lowe, that was one that was reported a couple of weeks ago from Portsmouth, the 24-year-old Portsmouth winger. 11 goals this season and 5 assists, a real starlet for Portsmouth. I alluded to it on my last Friday Night Football that I've actually seen Jamal Lowe play. I watched him play against Barnsley. A couple of my mates are Barnsley fans, unfortunately for them. But he was impressive, very impressive. Always willing to take on the man, always willing to go at players, always willing to get a cross in. Very neat on the ball as well. He can play in a variety of positions. He can play right back. He's played left back before in his career. He can play on either wing. So he is versatile in that respect. Very hard working. So it's one of them where you think to yourself, could that be a credible link? But I also did my research, and 2 or 3 years ago, there was still newspaper reporting saying that Leeds were interested in him at this time. So I don't know whether or not there's a credible link there. There doesn't seem to be any real. There's a couple of journalists that have mentioned his name, but I don't think there's any credible links there, really. Ibai Gomez, I know a lot of people were talking about Ibai Gomez at the start of the season, and we're talking about maybe bringing him in, and then it's become a lot more paramount over the past couple of weeks that it'd be great if Leeds got him in. He played for Bilbao, he played with Ander Herrera, he played with Fernando Llorente, he's played in that system, he played under Bielsa, which is the most important. He knows his fitness regime, he knows how to play under Bielsa, his body fat levels will presumably be low if Leeds are looking into him. Alaves player, he's sort of in the thick of it at the minute. We can count that as a dead rubber, guys, unfortunately, because Bilbao look like they're signing him for 3 to 4 million euros. That's an official Spanish newspaper as well. So I don't think that's a goer either, to be honest. And then recently as well, we got offered, apparently Spurs have offered us Michel Vorm. Now, a lot of Leeds fans were getting quite excited about this, and, you know, this, that and the other. 35-year-old Dutchman could be coming to Leeds, and a lot of people were saying, oh, that's fantastic, this, that and the other. I personally wasn't that excited about it. Every time I see Michel Vorm, I think he makes a lot of mistakes. He's on 62 grand a week, so I don't know if Leeds would have had to have, you know, paid a proportion of that wage fee. I'm not 100% sure. I know Leeds rejected the offer, so the finances might have matched up. The player preference might not have matched up, but he doesn't seem to be that Bielsa player as well. Michel Vorm, I've never really looked at him as sort of like a ball at feet sort of keeper. He's not that style. Yeah, very different to Hugo Lloris, who obviously is that style, but that seems to be another dead one actually at the minute. And then Peter Rourke as well, who's a journalist on Twitter as well. He's sort of everywhere. He's come out and reported now from the sort of like the London-based side, so I think he is based down there, so I don't know whether or not that's a Chelsea link right there. He's heard something within the club, but apparently Chelsea are set to recall Lewis Baker, which is Mad. That is absolutely mad. It's something that I didn't expect. It's something that I wouldn't expect to happen, to be honest. And the reason behind that is because Leeds' squad is so threadbare at the minute, and I do genuinely think that Bielsa has and does see something in Harrison and Baker. And I'd be stunned. It wouldn't be from a Leeds side that we'd want to get rid of them. I think that it would be more from a Chelsea side, and the Chelsea side of things would look at his development at Leeds United. Maybe they'd say that it wasn't one of those that we were going to implement into the rest of the season. That could be a very credible reason. But at the minute, obviously, they're not featuring Harrison and Baker as frequently as possibly their parent clubs would like. So there could be truth in that. There could be a lot of truth in that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's from the Chelsea side. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that moving within the next couple of days. And obviously, we look at outgoings as well, guys. And we've got Paul O'Connor, who's gone to Bradford, which, I don't know, it's a weird one. It's a real weird one for me, Paul O'Connor. I really liked him last season. I went to Villa away last season as well, where he was the best player on the pitch against Jonathan Codger. And it's a real weird one. I get that Leeds we're trying to amp up his progression, and 100%. By all accounts, he's had a very good stint at Blackpool as well. I was looking today, and a lot of Blackpool fans are sad to see him go. It's just one of those things, isn't it? I mean, evidently he's only down at Bradford, so maybe Leeds are looking at that, and we're thinking to ourselves, if we do need him, then we could just call him back from Bradford. Very similarly to what Villa have done with Tommy Elphick at Hull. It's just one of those where I'd like to see Paddy O'Connor in the squad, or Paddy O'Connor in the squad. I'd love to see that. But then again, I would also like to see Tom Pearce, sort of the next in line to Barry Douglas at the minute, but it just doesn't seem to be how Bielsa sees things. He thinks we're okay. He thinks we're absolutely fine with it. So it's just one of those guys. So Paddy O'Connor's at Bradford. Shaughnessy as well. Conor Shaughnessy today has gone to Hearts. I don't think Bielsa was ever really that interested in Shaughnessy getting a full run at Leeds, to be honest. He always seems to be on the periphery. When I've seen Shaughnessy play, he's always sort of neat and tidy with his feet, but he's never sort of defensively astute. I've never seen him defensively astute. I've never seen him offensively astute, to be honest. I mean, I know that's not his sort of role, but I've never seen him be good in that midfield too, that centre midfield too. So yeah, he joins Hearts, a good deal for Shaughnessy. Malik Wilks, obviously, the other day, has extended his stay at Doncaster, doing absolute bits at Doncaster once again, because I went to uni in South Yorkshire. I've got a lot of friends who are Doncaster, and they're absolutely rating him so highly. They think that he had a fantastic game the other day. He's had a couple of standout games, absolutely superb. Plays on the wing, can play that centre forward role, very versatile within that area. So evidently he's very highly rated over there, and it's one of those where I mean, would we have someone like Malik Wilks back at some point? Is he going to feature in a Leeds United side? I'm not 100% sure. And then obviously Louis Coyle. Louis Coyle's extended his stay at Fleetwood. I think, to be honest, if Louis Coyle was at Ellen Road right now, he'd be the starting right back. If let's say, I think he'd have definitely featured. I think maybe Luke Ayling would have taken a while to get back into it. I think Bielsa may have rested him. But I think Coyle would have been heavily featured, and I think he'd have had a couple of games so far, maybe like 4 or 5 games actually, if he'd have been seriously within the squad. But once again, Bielsa knows what he's doing. He's with Joey Barton at Fleetwood now. He's had a couple. Is it going to be? He's getting to that age now, Louis Coyle, where you've got to. I mean, what is he? 24, 25, where he's got to start making a statement, really, making statements to managers and stuff like that, and he's clearly highly regarded down there. I know Charlie Taylor was down at Fleetwood for a season, but then Leeds obviously recalled him, and he started playing frequently for the Leeds starting lineup. So who knows? I want to get onto other signings as well, because what I want to do on this feature is I want to talk about other clubs that rival Leeds within those positions, and how they've sort of strengthened as well. I'll make this a lot more of a documentation sort of thing in the next couple of weeks. So a big one, and the biggest one today for me, is Forest inquiring about Tom Heaton. That is huge. That is absolutely huge. The teamtalk.co.uk article that I did read, Tom Heaton he's looking to move out on loan. He wants some game time. He's had a little bit of game time at Burnley at the minute, but obviously with Joe Hart coming back into the fold, Nick Pope coming back into the fold, I think it's going to become a lot more rare for him. But the likes of Tom Heaton, I mean, if he's available, what a signing he'd be. England international, very assured, very good with his feet. I'd actually say out of the 3 at Burnley, Tom Heaton is the best. He's had experience getting promoted as well with Burnley, so it's just one of those where you think to yourself, come on Leeds, let's get in there. But then you've got to once again take it back and look, is it going to be a case of Leeds balancing the books again? Are we going to be able to afford someone like Tom Heaton? Are we going to have to pay a percentage of his loan fee if Leeds did get him in on loan? Are Forest in the position to do that above Leeds? I'd probably say so. Forest spending in excess of 20 million in the summer. Are they going to be able to pay a big percentage of Tom Heaton's wages? It's one of those, isn't it, where I just feel that is the signing. That is the signing. Obviously, I'd love Kieran Westwood. I love Kieran Westwood. I think for me, it's Westwood then Darlow. But the level above that's a top level signing, especially at Leeds at the minute. He'd be an excellent person to tutor Billy Peacock-Farrell as well, and obviously Will Huffer. I think he'd be a senior member, so he'd go straight into the squad, in my opinion. I think his qualities 100% put him as Leeds' number one. He's a really, really good keeper, very assured, very confident, and once again, another leader, and a leader from the back that we need. Every team that has gone up in the past, I mentioned it on my Friday Night Football, in the past, 3 or 4 seasons, you've had Brighton with Stockdale, you've had Newcastle who actually had like Darlow and Tim Krul, you've had Wolves who've had Ruddy. They're all experienced vets in this league, they're all experienced. I don't think with Billy Peacock-Farrell at the helm, unfortunately, Leeds are going to be able to get, to that next level fully. I think we need that keeper, we need that experience, we need that quality, because at the end of the day, a goalkeeper, you always build your side from the back. My dad used to always say it, my dad used to coach my bloody 11-a-side team, you build a side from the back, it breathes confidence into every element of your play. The keeper sees everything in front of him, the banks of four are confident. It's a massive, massive attribute to have a goalkeeper, a quality goalkeeper, and we saw that, didn't we, with the likes of Rob Green at Leeds. When Rob Green was at Leeds, a lot of people attributed it to the back four. The back four was solid that year, but Rob Green was an unsung hero. He was superb. He was a leader, and that is what Leeds are missing just at the minute. And even if Leeds didn't bring in a winger, which I think would be criminal, because I think there are wingers out there Leeds could get, whatever anyone says, there are options in January. There are always options in January, 100%. People who turn around and say, we can't do it. Of course, clubs might drive it up 100%, but there is business to be done. There are loans to be made. There are free transfers to be made, 100%. Of course there are. But someone like him is a massive, massive coup. And I'm praying Forest don't get someone like him in, because, then you look at their depth, for instance, and you've got Costil Pantilimon, who for me is one of the best in the league. And then you've got Tom Heaton just as his understudy. Or maybe he goes ahead of Costil Pantilimon. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, guys, that's a big one, yeah. You've got Courtney House, I think it's pronounced. House, I'm not 100% sure. Villa on Tour will clear that up for me. Who's just signed for Villa today. That's another centre half for Villa. With the likes of Twanzebe, who's injured. They brought Tommy Elphick back, and now they've got Courtney House. House sounds German, don't I? Courtney House back in. So that's a good one from Villa. What they're doing is they're covering their arses there. They know the light in the centre half department, and they've gone out there and they've got it. It's just it's a simple loan from Wolves. He's not a ball buster in wages. He's just a young lad who wants to get games and get some football time, and I think that's what Leeds can also target on the wing, possibly. I'd like to see a raw talent on the wing, a little bit more experience maybe, but someone like Jamal Lowe, someone of that ilk, just someone who is raw. Not that I have to be an experienced vet in the league, but someone who just will go at the right and left back. Also, Isaac Hayden has been West Brom have started to make moves. Of course they have. I mean, Mason Holgate apparently they're rumoured with Romain Sayers from Brentford, which would be a massive coup, especially with the likes of Harvey Barnes getting recalled from Leicester. But they've gone for Isaac Hayden at Newcastle now, the sort of regular starter. So that's going to be a big one if they manage to get some Isaac Hayden. I think that Newcastle knocked them back. And the big one as well for me, don't know what you guys think about this one, Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine Defoe. Now, good Leeds have got him. Is there any way on planet Earth that Leeds could have got him sort of paying maybe 10% of his wages? He's obviously got an 18-month deal to Rangers. I'm pretty sure it's a loan deal as well. What a signing that would have been. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it's an absolutely fantastic signing. I know another one Rangers have just brought as well, Stephen Davis, a centre midfielder, but he's an absolutely brilliant player in that role. Apparently he was available for loan as well. Obviously West Brom, you've had the likes of Matty Phillips, who's signed a new deal, which isn't great, because I was hoping Matty Phillips would have would have possibly get poached from maybe a lower league club, maybe Dog Botherers FC would have got him because obviously they're on the way down, or maybe like a Burnley would have gone in for him. That would have been nice. Casey Palmer as well, ex-Huddersfield, has actually made a transfer today to Bristol City. So that's it really, but there's a lot of key facets there. I think the big one for me will be Tom Heaton. Nottingham Forest haven't made an offer for him. They haven't gone in for him, but they have inquired about him. Can Leeds go in there and disrupt the apple cart? Look at where we are. Look at where Forest are. Who would Heaton rather come to? He would rather come to Leeds, 100%, 100%. You know. And you look at the track record of sort of England internationals we've had at the club, Alex McCarthy, Jack Butland, sort of, and then Rob Green, just in recent times. They've all done fantastically well at Leeds. Obviously, Jack Butland wasn't there for a large period of time, but at the end of the day, I thought he was decent when he was at Leeds for his 6 or 7 games, and it's a great club for developing players. We did have Ross Barkley, who apparently, according to Neil, Warnock wasn't good enough. Other news anyway, some other news which could affect Leeds as well. You've got the likes of Tammy Abraham has rejected a move to Wolverhampton Wanderers, which from a Leeds standpoint is pretty crushing. Because I'd have loved to have seen him out of that team. I'd have loved to have seen him, in the Premier League. I think he's that sort of player. He's a very, very good player. Scored against Leeds, obviously scored 16 goals this season, and he'd have been a prized asset to take away from Villa's hands, I think. Harvey Barnes being recalled as well. They reckon that is a pretty much certainty. I've read a lot of people online today, a lot of respected journalists as well, are stating that apparently Harvey Barnes is going to be going back to Leicester this month, which is huge because Barnes is a quality player. He is a really good player, so that's going to be a massive weakness for West Brom, so they're going to go out of their way and start, recuperating and splashing that cash everywhere. And obviously the main name they're talking about at the minute is Romain Sawyers from Brentford, who is a very good player. And obviously we've had Gary Rowett sacked. Oh, Gary, what's happened there, Gary? That press conference at the start, mate, when you were so, well, what do the bookmakers say? What do the bookmakers say? Oh, fuck off, mate. To Calvin Phillips, and Calvin was just laughing at him and thinking, mate, you're getting dried up. You're washed out, Gary. Your philosophy's crap. Moose would like you dickhead, but you're out now. Bye, Gary. That's it. So, fantastic to see him gone. I don't like Gary Rowett at all. I think he's a snake. He's a nice football philosophy man, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to nooks and crannies of it, he's not loyal. So yeah, good to see Gary Rowett sacked. But do we need signings? This is just before this, guys. If you wouldn't mind smashing the likes on the video, I can see 35 of you at the minute and 141 of you are watching. So that would be great if you just smash the likes. Just gives an indication that you're enjoying it. But do we need signings? I mean, in the previous seasons anyway, what you've seen from Leeds is, when we're in that era with Monk, when we were 4th at this point, Leeds were 4th in the league. And it's just, I think the reason, me included, and we're all getting a little bit impatient, and I can completely understand it. I mean, we're 8 days in, but we're all getting impatient. Is because we've seen how it's gone before. We've seen how it's gone. Since Dougie Freeman came in January, all those years ago, we've not really had a successful period in January, which of course it worries the masses. Of course it does. I mean, you look at Monk, we were 4th in the league and we brought in Mo Barrow and Pedraza. That was on the last day. Were they panic buys? Who knows? It seemed like it, to be honest, because Leeds left it right till the last. And we brought those two in. I actually like Pedraza. I thought he was a good player. We've seen, obviously, Mo Barrow is a half-decent player. He's done okay. Came back to bite us on the arse last season. But I wouldn't have him back. I wouldn't have either of them back, to be honest, because I think we need to be aiming for that level up, and that's what I'm saying. I think if Leeds are to make signings, we have to make quality signings. And that's why I reiterate the Tom Heaton signing. Someone like that, someone of that ilk to bring in. And then someone of youthful experience to put on the wing who can rotate with Alioski like a Jamal Lowe. That would be my favourite. I don't think we'll see a Steven Zuber coming in because I don't think he'll drop down to our level, unfortunately. But as you said, Grayson as well. A lot of people don't think we've been in this position before, but Grayson in January had us at 2nd at Christmas. Sorry, not January. We were 2nd at Christmas and it got into the January period and Leeds didn't make any waves. So it's been a reoccurring theme, hasn't it? And we also saw it with Christensen last season when there was Saiz at Spitting Gate. We didn't replace that, and that was the massive thing. We didn't replace that. We didn't have any rotation there. And that was the big issue at that point. Obviously, Saiz was a scumbag for doing it, but we didn't have anything to replace. And even Christensen came out afterwards and he said that losing size at that point of the season was absolutely detrimental to Leeds this season. And obviously we ended up in 13th. But for me, it's the reason we went for Bielsa. It's the reason the 49ers, it's the reason Radrizzani went for him. I think we're doing things the right way. We're doing things the Leeds United way. We're doing things which is beautiful for football. We're the dynasty at the minute that is playing football. We're the dynasty at the minute that's not spending millions and millions and millions. Spent 13 million this season, which isn't a lot. We've sold a lot of players. Our outgoings have matched our incomings. We're still doing it the old school. Bielsa comes in and he tries to manage players. He puts his arm around a player. He manages players. Is that not what managers are supposed to do? Oh, no, you're not supposed to. Of course, you're supposed to come in and throw money. Throw money as Allardyce does. Throw money as Pulis does. Throw money as Rowett does. Throw money as Darren Moore does. That's what you're supposed to do nowadays, apparently. Apparently, that's modern football. So what I love about Leeds, and it links it to Leeds, us going up playing beautiful football or us going up playing shithouse football like Pulis and Borough. It links it to that. Bielsa wants to improve players, and you've got to respect that. And this is why you've got to enjoy the ride, guys. This ain't going to last long. This guy doesn't have a track record of staying at clubs for a long period of time. So just enjoy it. And I know we're dying for players in. Of course we are, and we need that at the minute. But a fully fit squad, are you worrying that much? Are you worrying that much if you've got Izzy Brown starting? Are you worrying that much if you've got Bamford on the bench? I completely understand that we haven't got that at the minute, but it's going to turn around soon. And we are going to get the reinforcements in my opinion. I think we're going to get 1 or 2 in. But when it's a fully fit Leeds United squad, I think this squad under this man are going to go to dizzy heights, and we will have that fully fit squad back at some time. We will have it. I think I'm predicting about mid-Feb, late Feb, hopefully. But we've never operated on a massive budget as well, and I feel like a lot of Leeds fans are saying, like I've just done really, you go buy Defoe, go buy Stephen Davis, go buy Tom Heaton, but at the end of the day, we've never operated on that budget. Radrizzani's even come out and said that he doesn't think it's going to be a long-term thing, him at Leeds. So he's evidently not going to plough a load of his money, and that's why he's got his investors. That's why he's got the 49ers. These are why he's got these people to come in and do these deals. Do you think the Bamford deal would have happened if it wasn't for the San Francisco 49ers? No chance. It's just one of those things where we need to sort of accept where we are. We've got a brilliant manager, but I do think the reason Radrizzani brought him in is so it was cost effective and so he could improve the players, which is just, it's football, isn't it? That's what you want from a manager. You don't want a manager to come in and be like, right, I want bang, bang, bang and bang. Bielsa's old school. Bielsa is, and that's why we match so well. We're an old school club. We've got an old school fan base. We like doing things the right way, the football way, and that's why we're such a perfect match. You couldn't find a better match on Tinder. It's that good. But yeah, he's also said that Radrizzani's also said, like I've said, that he doesn't want to run it indefinitely in the Championship, and it's one of those things where he's probably looking to the future now. He's probably looking to the future. I'm not saying he's leaving, obviously, but you got to bear that in mind. That is he going to be ploughing millions into Leeds in January? I don't think he is. So I'm just going to get in some of your comments, guys. At the minute, I've just been watching the Talking Shut, so that's still on my radar. But yeah, what do you guys think? I'm seeing a lot of people saying Cooper's back shortly as well, which is fantastic. And that's what I'm excited to when I'm talking about the lineup against Derby. I'm going to go into Derby on my preview, guys. So that's the reason I'm not going into it at the minute. I'm just going to read some of your comments. Marcus Biga, the Argentinian, I do remember. Hi, Conor. Bielsa said that they cannot hide from the goalkeeper injury and Sai's departure, but he cannot assure anything. What do you think? Thank you, Marcos. Marcos is Argentinian. He was on my last one. It seems like a really good guy. He's on here quite frequently. What do I think? I think that a goalkeeper is a necessity, Marcos. I also think a winger is a necessity. What do I think is more important? A goalkeeper, 100%. For me, it's the most important position in a football team. But do I think a winger is necessary? 100%. A winger is, of course, it's necessary. We need that winger. We need someone of real quality who can whip balls in. We don't have to just rely on a Barry Douglas. Even Alioski, the lad needs a little bit of a rest. He's played a lot of football. He's played football, so you've got to bear that in mind. We sort of need a little bit of a replacement from him. I don't think we've got enough quality coming off the bench at the minute, aside from Jack Clark. So yes, that's what I think, mate. Scott Lightning, I don't judge a player unless they play at least 6 or 7 games on the bounce. We haven't got that time, unfortunately. No, we haven't, mate. And unfortunately, that'd be great, wouldn't it? A little statistic that I found on Twitter, as he's called Amir Razman. Don't know if you're watching here, but he was saying that apparently the back four of Leeds, so Cooper, Jansen, Douglas, and Ayling haven't played together since the 2nd of October. So that back four, our starting back four, haven't played together since the 2nd of October. Those four, Pablo and Roof, haven't played together in a competitive match ever. This is what I mean. So it's just the luck of the draw at the end of the day. We are where we are at the minute. We've got injuries. The squad is riddled with injuries. Obviously, suspensions to Calvin. We're just unlucky at the minute. But I do think that has to turn round. That has to turn round in the second half of the season. We've been blighted with injuries. You know, you look at the extent of who's been out. You've had Douglas, Cooper, Berardi, Jansen, Dallas, Bamford, Brown, Roof. I don't know if I mentioned him. Pablo. The squad there's been a sustained period of time where every single player nearly in this lineup, apart from Cleek, if I'm not mistaken, and Alioski, who've been out. Even Saiz, there was the period where he was out as well. You know, the squad is riddled. No other squad has gone through what we've gone through. That's why you've always got to tell your mates who are giving you a bit of shit at work or giving you a little bit of shit at school. You've got to turn around and say, we're Leeds, we're top of the league with this squad at the minute, with a threadbare squad. Our under-23s are as top of the league as the first team. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? So we're performing so well at the minute. You cannot let that escape your vision. We're doing so well. So keep your chins up, guys. You know, unfortunately we don't have the 6-7 games on the bounce where one player can prove himself, but yeah, what can you do? Thank God Shaughnessy is gone. Yeah, that's a lot of people's opinion, isn't it? I didn't mind Shaughnessy, but at the end of the day, he was never going to feature under Bielsa. I don't think he's ever going to feature for Leeds United again, to be honest. Stephen Allen, he's got a Borough badge. Hello, Stephen. Hope you're doing all right, mate. Damar Facey, I've seen a lot of you on this, mate. Apologies, I've not read anything out yet. Bring back Rob Green, yeah. Infectious. Sorry, guys, to the people who have been here since the start, but what key things have I missed up on? Yeah, just look up, mate. Do you think we'll get anyone? JR, mate, I do think we'll get someone, Jay. I do think we'll get a couple of people. It looks like at the minute, like the more likelihood is... I'm just reading what Joe said. Phil A just confirmed, mate. Chelsea yet to make Leeds away. They won't back back, but 100% sounds like it. There you go. Joe Wainman there, guys. Give him some love. Back to you, JR, mate. Do I think we'll get anyone? Yeah, I do think we'll get someone. I think it's a necessity. I think if Leeds United don't get anyone in the January transfer window, it's possibly the biggest mistake in a number of years. Where Leeds are at this point, we have never been at this point. For Leeds not to go out and rectify a couple of things, a couple of minor things with players that don't cost millions and millions of pounds. For Leeds not to do that, it would be a travesty. I genuinely think that it would be an absolute travesty, and it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair on the starting 11. It wouldn't be fair on the squad. It wouldn't be fair on the 23s. Everyone always wants playing game. Of course they do. Playing time. Sorry, the 23s want it. They'll be in the squad now, chomping at the bit. But they need help as well. Of course they do. And at the bits where teams are struggling, you know, you look at Borough. They've rectified their winger situation with Van La Parra. You know, they've brought a winger in. They're looking at more wingers. You look at West Brom, who are losing Harvey Barnes. They're looking at bringing Romain Sawyers in. Aston Villa, who've lost Twan Zebi, who brought Tommy Elphick back from Hull, and then they're bringing Courtney House in. So everyone's rectifying it. Just because we're 8 days into the window doesn't mean we won't rectify it, but we have to rectify it because every other team's doing it around us. There's a lot of pressure on other teams around us because they've got the money, but if Leeds are smart about it, 100% we can do it. 100%. Andy Saxton, good day, mate. Hello, mate, from Australia. I hope you're doing all right there. I used to watch the football games in Australia with Andy. Peter Vernon, haven't we saved wages on Blackman and Saiz to be able to afford heating? It's a very good point. Very good point, Peter. I couldn't tell you that. You'd assume so. I don't know if it was sort of, I know it was sort of a pay-to-play thing with Izzy Brown. I don't know if Blackman was the exact same sort of deal. I'm not 100% sure. Were we paying for him from the start? I don't know. So would we have lost out? I'm not 100% sure. But Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? That's the reason when people were talking about Baker going back. That's why I was thinking to myself, well, at the end of the day, if he goes back, we have to bring in three players. And Leeds have got in mind that we're bringing in three players. So that's why I'd be slightly positive about it, because we'd lose Baker, who's, let's be right, he's not done that much for us, but we'd be looking to bring someone else in. If Leeds were to lose Baker and just lose Baker, it just makes no sense. So that's why I'm saying it can't be a credible link. I mean, maybe you guys could lighten me. I think Joe has somewhere down. Dog Botherers FC, laughing emojis. Well, they are, aren't they? I'm just so happy they're going down. Paul O'Connell, hey Conor, do you think the Derby result will impact our transfer activity? To be honest, Paul, if they haven't got the fingers out by now, I'd be a little bit worried in the sense of targets, in the sense of inquiries. I'd be a little bit worried, but you know, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Let's say if we lost to Derby, which I don't think we will. I don't think we will lose to Derby. But if we did lose to Derby, then is it going to be a case of Leeds, you know, if let's say if we got heavily beaten, are we going to turn around and think, well, you know, so-and-so's not back for however long, Izzy Brown's not back till mid-February, we're going to have to rectify that. And maybe, because they do listen to the fans on social media, that's 100% a fact, they do listen to us. So this is why you guys have always got a voice. You've got a voice on here, all of you, because your opinion is as important as mine, as important as Radrazani's, as important as anyone. But it's one of those, isn't it? They do listen to the club, so if there was complete uproar at the fact that Leeds hadn't brought anyone in and we'd just been spanked by Derby, would that kick Leeds into signing someone? But then would you want that? Would you want Leeds to get spanked and then be forced into making a signing? Do you think Leeds would do that anyway? I don't think they would. I think they're a little bit more astute than that, to be honest. Infectious, are we still able to try get Ibai Gomez? We're not, mate. Ibai Gomez is subject to a medical Atletico Bilbao, which is ironic. He's subject to a medical there. Apparently Bilbao are also looking at Ander Herrera and Fernando Llorente, so they're trying to get the whole Backstreet Boys back together. North Allerton White, Rad signed don't have a go at that guy. That guy is quality. Just for Leeds, for the partnerships he's brought in with Leeds. Exactly, you're complete right. Nobody should be having a game, no one. But at the same time, I do think it would be a massive mistake if Leeds didn't make movements in the January window. And I think if people don't think that, possibly they're kidding themselves, because the injuries at the minute, I think we all know how threadbare the squad is. We just need reinforcements. We need to freshen up the squad. You look at Cleek at the minute, he's running through treacle. I think we need something. We need to vigor the squad a little bit. We need just a little bit of a fresh face, or fresh faces. What else have we got? All things Leeds. Don't think Cooper. Hello Ed, how you doing, mate? Don't think Cooper will be back on Friday. Only played around 60 minutes last night. Yeah, but they could have possibly taken him off with an eye to him playing against Derby. Apparently he had a very good game, according to Joe Urquhart. Looked very good, was turning on his leg as well. LUFC fan zone. How's the case, mate? Absolutely fantastic, lads. I got this from LUFC fan zone. Absolutely brilliant cases. Go check them out. They're absolutely brilliant. It's a lovely, lovely case. I got Viduka on the back of mine, scoring the fourth of his 4 goals against Liverpool, which my favourite ever Leeds United moment. Go down a little bit. We've got Joe Wainman. Phil Hay just confirmed, mate. Chelsea yet to make Leeds aware they want Baker back, but 100% sounds like they do. There you go. So whilst I'm on air, apparently Chelsea sound like they do want Baker back. So there you go. A little bit of breaking news from Joe Wainman. LUFC, Vorm or DARLOW? DARLOW all day, mate. DARLOW all day. He's very good with his feet. Leader, good in the air as well. Every time I look at Vorm, I think there's a mistake in him. I think there's a mistake in Michel Vorm. And I think a lot of people sort of like the idea of us getting Michel Vorm because they know who he is. He's 35. He's been in the Premier League for a while. He's played Fulham, Tottenham. I think a lot of people like that idea, but I think you can't miss the amount of mistakes he's made. A lot of Tottenham fans would be upset. There's a reason Tottenham are offering him on, put it that way, and for 62 grand a week as well. If Leeds were to sign him, we'd have to break the budget for someone who is mistake ridden, who I really wouldn't be that bothered about. LUFC, West Brom versus Norwich prediction. This is something I need you to bear in mind, guys, as well. Not only have Leeds got Derby, West Brom have got Norwich. So it's the clash of the titans, isn't it? We're all playing each other. This is where it's so important that Leeds have to get a win against Derby. I'm not going to go into it too much. As I've said, I've got the preview coming out with the Derby fan. But it's massive that Leeds get a result for me. A lot of people have said, is it that is it that bothered? People that bothered about it? And I think people should be bothered about it. Leeds have lost 3 out of 3. You can't stay away from that fact. We need to bounce back. And if we bounce back against the Derby County team, just in 6th place, you beat the teams around you. You beat the teams around you, obviously you get further ahead. I think it's better to play the teams around you. They lose points, you gain points on them, 100%. And it'll bring us even further away from 7th, which is what we all want. We've all got that in the back of our heads, really, haven't we? Nowhere we're going to finish there, in my opinion. Nowhere, but we've all got that in the back of our head. We want a little bit of space, don't we? We want that. So the West Brom and Norwich prediction, I reckon 1-1, and that's where Leeds can really make progress there if we beat Derby County. Tom Otomanski, bet he put Fear into the starting lineup. How shite must you be playing to be replaced by Baker? Yeah, I don't think Baker's that bad. I really don't think Baker's that bad. I just think. I think it's a confidence thing. Like at the start of the games when you watch him, if you've ever watched him, honestly, if you're ever at Ellen Road, which I'm sure a lot of you are, there's 157 of you watching, just watch him in the corner at the start of the game when he's doing his pre-match. He's absolutely fantastic technically. Skill set, he's got a cracking shot on him. I don't know what it is. He just seems to enter the fall. He crosses that white line and it just doesn't seem to click for him. And I don't know what it is. It's so frustrating. I said to Joe, I said to Oscar, I said, I'd love Baker to just grab the game the other against QPR. It's perfect. They're playing the kids. You've got Luke Freeman to come up against. It's direct competition. He's a very good player, Luke Freeman. Show yourself. Just show yourself. Do what you can do. Do what we all know you can do. And just take all the. I even saw. There was a couple of corners as well. But for that free kick against QPR, he really whipped that in. It was a keeper mistake, but he's got a real whip on him. He's got a good free kick on him as Lewis Baker. And you've seen that in the Chelsea under-21 days. You've seen that when he was at Holland. So it's even the confidence of the kid. Alioski started taking corners off him. He started taking set pieces off him. But Baker had a really good effort, didn't he? That was blocked by the keeper. It was spilled by the keeper. But I really think, there's something that's missing with Lewis Baker. And I think if Bielsa can just find out what it is in such a short space of time, I genuinely think we could see a different player in Lewis Baker. Joe Wainman. When Baker goes, it just puts more pressure on Rads and Orta to do the biz. 3 needed now. Yep, I agree with you. GK wing and 10 cover. Don't know about a 10. I don't know. I mean, Oscar was alluding to the fact that we've already got covered for a 10. I don't know what you guys think on that one. Freddie LUFC, when is Bamford back? We need him ASAP. Yeah, Freddie, 100%, mate. We do need him back. I think we need Bamford back massively. The goals are dried up at the minute. Don't know what it is with Cleek at the minute. Ever since we've been singing that song, the goals have dried up. He doesn't seem to go beyond Roof anymore and help him in the attack. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Sai's freed him up a little bit more and got a lot of the attention from the midfield and the defenders, so it freed Cleek up a little bit. We've got Pablo and Roof at the minute who are supplying the goals. We need Paddy Bamford. We need Bamford to get back in the fold. He comes back in. He shows a glimpse of quality against Bolton. We know he's got it, and we just need him back into that fold. Bobby Degville, hi. Hi. Guys, if you just joined as well, make sure you smash a like on the video. As I've said to all the legends who are already watching, it gives us an indication if you like it or not. If you don't like it, we'll realise and we'll rectify it. If you do like it, just give it a like, please, guys. Will Games, LOL, don't know what I've said. Gary Keith, hello to Joe too. Yeah, hello, Joe. We've given you enough attention, mate. But yeah, Conor, to correct you from a previous stream, you said Jamal Lowe is 19, he's 24. He is, mate. Yeah. I said that earlier on. He is 24 years old. Good to know, mate. Keep up the crap. Any news on that Swiss lad? Yeah, like I've just said, mate, Steven Zuber, if you've just joined later on in the stream, Steven Zuber, Phil Hayes come out and said that there's interest there, but Leeds haven't put it in motion yet. But at the end of the day, it's day 8. Bear that in mind, it's day 8. There's still a long, long way to go. The only reason I'm getting a little bit angsty about it is I'd love for Leeds to bring someone in now. And the reason behind that is if we bring someone in now, we can stick them in ASAP when we've got all these injuries, when we've got all this sort of fracas with all these problems at the back and in midfield and stuff like that. Andy Saxon, next 4 games, we battered all of them. I think that's reference to the fact that if, in the next 4 games, Leeds winning all them. If you've seen Joe's, Joe did a little stream the other night. Last night. Go check that out. Joe was saying that he reckons that Leeds are going to do very, very well in the next 4, 5 or 6 games. He knows what I'm like, but I do think we'll do well. I think this derby game is massive. I think this derby game is massive to kick us on. If we kick on from this derby game, I do think those games that Joe said will win. I do agree with him 100%, because I think Leeds need this. It's a full house as well at Derby. I remember Derby under Monk. I remember Villa under Monk at Ellen Road. I remember Brighton under Monk at Ellen Road. It was absolutely, the atmosphere was just, it was boiling and it was fantastic. And I mean, that's what the fucking Premier League misses, doesn't it? You know, our Everton fan told me the same thing today. He said, we miss Leeds, we miss that. And that's what we can create. We can create that bubbling atmosphere. And how brilliant would it be under the lights to see Leeds get back to winning ways against a Derby side who are also in form, a Derby side who apparently have also lost Harry Wilson to injury. So that's a positive. Bam, bam, bam. We have the advantage. Mind games will go in our favour. Yeah, I think that's alluding to the other games as well. Wayne May suggests you look at how many mistakes Green made. What? I do not agree with that, buddy. I know Green, obviously you look at the Newcastle mistake he made at Ellen Road with Gale, but he was absolutely fantastic at Leeds. Everyone's of course you're subject to your opinion of fantastic. You know, that's what this is all for. But you know, I don't think Rob Green made loads and loads of mistakes. I thought it was brilliant for Leeds from a personal standpoint. I thought he brought so much to Leeds as well. There was a leadership factor. There was a calming influence from Rob Green as well. And you look at some saves at Ipswich and Norwich in that season, that season when we won 3-2 down at Norwich, when Norwich peppered us for periods in that second half where he was absolutely superb, Rob Green. He kept us in the game. There was so many games as well. Brighton, when they came to Ellen Road, he was absolutely pivotal in that win. There was a couple of times where Knockout got through. Green made 2 fantastic saves. Villa at home, there was a couple of times where I remember Lansbury had a free kick, top corner, Green picks it out of the top corner. They're just 4 moments I can remember where Green was absolutely pivotal. Green saved us points last season under the Monk era for me, and I think that was one of the biggest mistakes of the last century Leeds have made, letting Rob Green go. I think, I'd have Rob Green right now. I really would. He's sat on a bench, probably in an advisory role for Chelsea. I'd have him right now. I loved Rob Green, but you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, mate. Gustavo Fabro, I've seen Gustavo before in our streams. Viva El Leeds to Argentina. Viva El Leeds, my friend. Viva Leeds United. I don't know any Spanish. Does anyone know any Spanish we can speak to Gustavo with? But hello, my friend. I hope you're doing fantastically well. All things Leeds. Good clip of Adrian Durham and Darren Goff talking about Bielsa and Leeds a few weeks ago. Good listen. Yeah, I'll check that out, mate. I've been told apparently they were saying some really nice things. The fact that he's bringing quality football back to England. He's initiating a lot of youth. Saw the talk sport though, they were getting at Leeds again, saying that they cannot believe how many players that Bielsa rested. Fuck off. It's just clickbait bollocks. It's the same shit all the time. Just guys, can we just boycott Talksport, please? The Dan Dobb 1982. We could potentially have 3 of our first choice back for available on Friday. Yeah, I think what he's saying there is we could have potentially 3 out of the 4 back on Friday, which is true. Yeah, of course we could. We could have all of it. Essentially we could have Ayling back. We could have Coops back, Jansen and Douglas. You know, that's the 4 back together. The boy band's back. Westlife, we're back. I don't know if everyone hated Westlife, sorry. Steve Murray's Green was class getting back. Yeah, I agree. All things Leeds. Green, one mistake he made was Gale at Ellen Road. Apart from that, was fantastic. Rob Green was great. Sylvester made the mistakes, remember him. Spilvestry, not Silvestry. Philip Million, Newcastle away was the best from Green. Yeah, he's just fantastic. It's just should we just get Rob Green appreciation stuff coming in? Couldn't agree with any more about Green. Mark Gillett, just back on the transfer front. I know we veered off that a little bit. We need cash. Yeah, of course we do. Every club in the world needs cash though, mate. And it's just one of those, isn't it? At the minute, it's difficult because what do we want him to do? Do we want him to go spend millions and millions and millions, or do we want him to balance the books? Do we want him to bring in shrewd signings? you know, maybe a million here and that, 500 grand or a million here and there, maybe on a winger and then a loan signing or even two loan signings. I'm not that bothered. We just need quality in that area. I do understand that you have to spend money to get quality nowadays, but I also think there are players that are not playing in the Premier League. You look at Stefan Johansson, who I mentioned at the start, who's Fulham. He's available for loan now, and obviously I said AC Milan have inquired about him. That could just be paper talk. That's pretty much what I got that from. But when you look at Stefan Johansson, he's a quality player. He was quality in the Championship as well. He was fantastic against Leeds. My mates lived in London, and we used to go to Craven Cottage to watch Leeds quite a few times. Really good away ground if you've not been. And he was brilliant. He was superb. He's an out-and-out winger, works backs, versatile, can play anywhere along that four, can play left back, right back, can actually play up front as well. So, you know, that would be a loan signing. And then you could get someone like Tom Heaton, who would be a loan signing. You know, and that's what I think Leeds are trying to pursue with Darlow. They were trying to pursue a loan signing. You know, so we can do it on the cheap, but we can get quality players in, and of course that's what we want. But at the same time, is it realistic? Is it realistic that Leeds are going to be able to go out and get two quality players in those positions? I think so. I really do think so. All things Leeds, Douglas out with a muscular injury, long time. I'm praying he's not. A lot of people are getting on Douglas at the minute, and I kind of want to touch on it really. I think a lot of people are getting at him, you know, with his performances not being at the Wolves level, and I do tend to agree. I don't think they are on the Wolves spectrum, but you've got to look at the players that he was playing with the Wolves as well. You know, your Ivan Cavalleros, your Leo Bonatinis, your Diego Hotas, your Ruben Neveses. You know, your Willy Bollies, you know, the list goes. You'll never get a better team in the Championship than them. They were too good. They were way too good. They were a Premier League team before they were a Championship team. You know, they're trying to turn themselves into Portugal. It's one of those things where with Douglas, I also think the qualities of Barry Douglas is in the build-up play. He fires passes in, which I really, really like. He opens his body. He can go inside. He can go outside. He brings a lovely balance to the Leeds United team. And that's why earlier on in the season, I actually said I'd like to see him play left wing. But obviously, you know, people have got a lot of issues with his pace, and of course, yeah, definitely 100% I can respect that. What I was more alluding to is the fact that he can get the ball out of his feet and whip it in, because that man's delivery is just on another level. It's on another level. So I just love Barry Douglas in that sense, and I think he really does link up play well. I mean, we always talk about the Norwich Stoke Derby games on this channel in particular, because we refer to those because I mean, we're top of the table now, but those performances were scintillating. And those performances, I thought you saw the best of Barry Douglas. I think at the minute he's on a little bit of a dip. Of course he is, and he's come out and stated that on Twitter as well. But they have no mistakes about it. The guy is top class. If you look at our squad and you're picking out Premier League players, or you're looking at our squad and sticking first names on the team sheet, I think Barry Douglas is still up there. Bolton are interested in Jack Clark. If that was true, they'd have to sell the whole team. Yeah, I think that's that's just a funny one, that, isn't it, Damar? When you've got Ruben Neves and Bolly in your team, it's easy to look good. Yeah, I mean, I think Phil, yeah, all things Leeds, yeah, he just reiterated that. Yeah, Phil Hayes tweets. I mean, he's completely right. It's Phil. I mean, when you've got hello, sorry about that. They brought in a goalkeeper, and they've also brought in obviously Johnny at left back, and they've brought in the subtle replacements, but they've still kept the spine, and they still had that within the Championship. You know, your Willy Bolly, Ruben Neves, it's Diego Hotas. It's just ridiculous. So you can't compare Leeds to Wolves. I know we've done a lot of it, but it's not realistic, guys. It's not realistic. 2 or 3 signings would send us up. Jacob Kessler won't happen though. Keep optimistic, mate. Keep optimistic. I do think it will happen. I do think we'll bring in at least 2 signings, but they will send us up. I do completely agree with you. I think 2 signings would send Leeds United up. I think 2 quality signings would send Leeds United up as well. So you've got to bear that in mind. I mean, we get these signings in. We get Brown and Bamford back alike as well. We're looking a really, really strong team. So Alioski left back against Derby. Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I thought when he went left back, when he turned left back at QPR, he looked a bit dodgy, I'll be brutally honest with you, giving a fair few fouls away, and he was doing his old gobbing off, funny Alioski. Does better when he does that, Alioski. But he's passionate, and that's what I love about Alioski. You know, whatever you may say about him, he is passionate. He does give a shit about Leeds. He really does. All things Leeds, your internet is poor emoji. Yeah, no, you're right. Wayne Mace, he will sell as soon as promoted. Yeah, if you're talking about Radrizzani, mate, I probably agree with you. What's your feelings on Ideguchi? I hear he has potential. I think I saw you put that on the Talking Shut podcast there. It's Norman. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see that at Leeds again, mate. I don't think we'll ever see Ideguchi at Leeds. I feel sorry for the kid because I think Leeds have just completely scuppered his progress. But yeah, I think there's not much more to say on Chibiki, Ideguchi and that sort of clan. Did I hear our chance conversation, our chance conversion rate is similar to the bottom three? If so, surely with a fit Bamford we could walk it. Yeah, 100%. It's definitely one of those. Our chance creation, I think, is in the bottom five. I think, mate, in the league, which is worrying, and I think Bielsa's definitely alluded to that. But for me, if that is the case, then you've got to look at bringing someone in for that final third. Offensively, we're not strong at the minute. I always say to the guys, and we always have a chat about it, Leeds do need 4 or 5 chances to put away one. It was like Robbie Keane back in the day. Do you know what I mean? He'd need 5 or 6 chances to bury one. And it was just one of those, really. I don't know what's happening with that at the minute. I think there's only 2 real people who are having shots at the minute in Pablo and Roof. I think Cleek needs to get his shooting boots back on because we look so much more clinical around that point. I think Douglas as well, when he starts getting up on his free kicks as well, you're hoping that he's going to have a chance conversion rate like Harry Wilson. I mean, what we'd love for that. But it really is a little bit of a worry at the minute, the fact that our chance conversion rate. But you look at the squad. How well Bielsa is doing. Of that starting lineup, it's Barry Douglas, isn't it? And that team finished 13th under Paul Heckingbottom last season. What do you expect? With that, imagine what Bielsa would be able to do with the calibre of that Derby squad. That Derby squad, by the way, who have got Harry Wilson on loan, and they paid a fee to Chelsea of 3 million for a Harry Wilson loan for a season. These are the levels we're working under here, guys. These are what we're working with. So you've got to bear that in mind. We are still creating chances against every side. We are creating chances against QPR. For me, we're the better side against Forest. We're still the better side against Forest with 10 men. Hull, we still created chances. I think Hull are a very good side. A very good side. They've got a lot of quality in that side, especially when they had Elphick. Jackson Irvine's gone on international duty, but he's a quality player as well. They've got a lot of quality. They've not been out the Premier League that long. They've still got the money. They've still got the wage caps that are higher. They've still got the higher transfer budget. I'm not having it. I am not having it. It does my absolute bulbing when I've got mates who are Hull fans. I've got mates who are bloody Villa fans. Leeds have got a fair bit of money now with Radrizzani. No. That's not how it works. Sorry, I think I said Wilson was at Chelsea. It was Liverpool. Apologies for that. But yeah, no, that's not how it works. Leeds United we haven't got as much money as those clubs. They've got drip down money from the Premier League when they've been there in the past, like 5 or 6 years. You've got to bear that in mind. So with what we're doing at the minute, it's fantastic. We're playing some really good stuff, and at the end of the day, we're working within our means, and that's what Radrizzani's doing. You can't be expecting him to go out and spend 10, 15, 20 million. It's just not going to happen, guys. It's not realistic. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. You live chat, what are you saying as well? Rads is broke, isn't he? I don't think he's broke necessarily, mate. I genuinely don't think he's broke. I just think there's a plan for Radrizzani to move on. That he's invested a hell of a lot in 11 Sports. I'm not 100% sure that's going that well at the minute. We've all seen the fact that he's not been able to secure the rights. I don't know if it was the Italian football or League of Football. I can't remember. I didn't look at the specifics, but he's not been successful with that. He's always said with Leeds that it's a short-term project. He'd look to sell it on in a really good way. I'm sure he would do that. He'd do it to the best of his ability. And Leeds are now an asset now. We've got the ground, so we're an asset. So we look very, very attractive to a potential buyer. 100%. Radrizzani even came out last season and said he'd had loads of offers for Leeds United. So you don't need to worry about that. But at the end of the day, that's why he brought investors in like the 49ers. So they could be pivotal in moments like this. So, for example, when we got Bamford as well, they were pivotal in that. I know that for a fact. So that's what you got to bear in mind. He's a very shrewd businessman. So there's no way that there's no way he'll let Leeds go throughout the January window and not do anything and not give anything at all. I just don't think that's realistic. Josh Hartley, to be fair, our transfers are better under wraps. If we came out publicly saying we needed a winger, striker, goalkeeper, etc., any team will increase their asking price. Yeah, there's a lot of psychology, Josh, in football, 100%, and there's a lot of psychology in football agents, football clubs, and I think that's a very, very good point, mate. You go out and there's loads of publications about Leeds wanting a goalkeeper. Leeds go and approach Tom Heaton and they put 1.5 on the table. Burnley are going to raise it to 4. That's why, for example, we kept the likes of Bamford under wraps. We kept the likes of Douglas under wraps. Of course they're going to do that. They're competitors. Of course they're going to increase the price, especially if they know Leeds are doing so well at the minute. John Paul Redmond, if it's true Chelsea are recalling Baker, it won't be a big loss. He's been poor. Gary Keith, sorry was wrong. Thought Raz was broke. Tar for explaining. It's all right, mate. No problem. Clive Binley, I wanted a QPR win and I'm a Leeds fan. We don't need the distraction of the FA Cup. We can look at it when we get promoted. Yeah, of course we can, Clive. And we can also look forward to it. We've got a bigger squad as well, mate. We've got a bigger squad. If Leeds United had a fully fit squad, if we had a fully fit 22, 23, I'd be all for going for the cup competitions. Of course I would, 100%, because you go for the cup competitions and there's a potential tie, a brilliant tie in the next round. Of course, that's what we all want. I was at Man United, I was at Spurs, do you know what I mean? I was at Liverpool, I've been there, it's incredible. I love the cup competitions, but at the end of the day, is it realistic? Is it realistic? Am I that bothered? If Leeds had have gone into that cup tie with 2 wins, and then we'd have lost to QPR, I wouldn't have been bothered at all. The only reason I was a little bit bothered was because it was 3 on the bounce and it was a little bit of momentum and I didn't want the lads' heads to have gone down. Do you know what I mean? For instance, Ayling's been involved in 3 losses now on the bounce. But at the end of the day, I don't think that'll happen. I think Leeds will bounce back. I think that's the mentality that Bielsa's got installed in them. Take every game as it comes. So I genuinely think that that's not going to be a facet for Leeds against Derby. The Shoreham boy, hello, mate. I think you're a Sheffield United fan. You comment on a lot of our videos. John Heckles, I still think we need backup for Phillips. Who else have we got to play his role? Every time he's away from that CDM role, we struggle. Yeah, John, you're right, mate. And the reason, but he's pivot. He's that boy is on another level this season. I used to be one of the ones last season who really, I didn't used to go at Phillips, but he used to frustrate me. He really used to frustrate me. And that's me being brutally honest with you guys. I'm sure there was a lot of you who did the same. I used to get really frustrated with him. I didn't think he got in attacking positions. Aside from the start of the season where he bagged in 5, I don't think he did enough in that season, but he wasn't one of the main problems. But I always thought there was more from Calvin Phillips. I actually thought Vieira was the better player. But at the end of the day, Bielsa clearly doesn't see that, and that's why he's a manager and I'm sat on a chair in my fucking room. But Phillips is on another level this season. Phillips is on another level. He is arguably our best player. He is class, and there's a reason Southgate's watched him. How he distributes that ball is phenomenal, and that's where you get an experienced player like Forshaw, who's incredible. I really do rate Forshaw, but you get Calvin Phillips, who can get the ball on his back foot, open body, is not bothered about players coming towards him and giving him the high press because he's confident on the ball. He can get the ball on his back foot, and he can switch a ball 50 yards. You don't get many players like that. You do not get many players like that at the top level. So replacing someone like Calvin Phillips and bringing someone else in, it's probably a little bit unrealistic, mate, because I don't think there's many players like Calvin Phillips out there. Whew. Joe Wainman, all Leeds TV. Wow, bro, you're a machine. I know, guys. Get liking. What minute are we on now? 1:12. God, I either talk too much. I've not got anything to do. So if you like this video, that'd help. Oh, stop. Jacob Kessler. Yeah, guys, sorry about that. I think there's a little problem with my internet again. I think he'd leave? Bielsa, I do think he'd leave because, it's one of those things where he's got a project at Leeds, and I don't think, to be honest, it'd be one of those where I don't think he'd stay for the duration, as in 2-3 years down the line. I don't think that'll happen, to be honest. But I think he'll try his best. Of course I do. I think he'll try his very best at Leeds United. It's just one of those things. Let's have a look at who else have we got on here. How long's this thing been going for, mate? It's been going for a long time. We're on 1:13 now, just looking at that top corner. Wayne Mace, if you think they listen to fans on social media, sadly mistaken. Well, it's interesting you say that, Wayne, because Phil, if you actually listen to Phil's podcast as well, he actually alludes to that in his podcast. He says the club do definitely listen to people on social media. So it's a pretty good source there, mate. Joe, where's your half an hour stream? All things Leeds. Yeah, ask him. I don't know where. He's not committed to you guys like I am. I'm joking. He's the guy bleeds this channel. So true emotions. Only having one senior centre back fit at the minute isn't good, and we should have strengthened in that position in the summer. We also need a winger or 10 and goalkeeper. Yeah, there's a lot you're asking for, mate, but I completely understand what you're saying. I also think, but that's where I love Paddy O'Connor to be back. So I really rate Paddy O'Connor. He can also play the ball very good with his feet, in my opinion, as well. He linked up. He always looked for Lasogga last season when he was playing. He always goes to that striker position. He's very good on the ball, very good in the air, and that's what I've loved to have seen Paddy O'Connor back at Leeds. Joe, boy, he's a machine. Fair play, go on, Conor, son. Mate, it's my decaf coffee. Andreas Calandris, wow. KP has it off. I thought you said KP hasn't improved under Bielsa. I was about to throw the phone at the wall again. Yeah, he has improved, mate. He's been absolutely fundamental to everything we do, and that's why I do worry when he's out. I do worry massively that he's out of the team. Of course I do, because he's pivotal to Leeds. And I think, you get a Calvin Phillips in that side against Derby. I think we blow Derby away. I think you look at that side now and you've got sort of an out of sorts clique. Saiz has left. Saiz's best performance of the season was against Derby away, and Phillips is out. I think that midfield three against Derby, it's become a little bit more of a harder task. As well, I think Derby will come with a much different approach to the game as well. I don't think they'll go hell for leather, because we will pick them off. We'll pick them off. Any club that comes to us and goes hell for leather, Leeds will pick them off. So I'd be stunned if Frank Lampard came and did the exact same as he did. All things Leeds. Conor, you get some more Leeds stuff on your walls. Should have a competition of who's the better backdrop is between you three. Yeah, I'm losing, mate. I'm losing. There was a point where I was trying to get like the backdrops on the wall and stuff. I was downstairs. I was putting all my stuff on the wall. But, it was just one of those things. But if you guys want to see that, if you want to see me plaster the walls with Leeds stuff, I've got so many things in around the house, Leeds memorabilia. If you want to see that, then I guess drop a like on the video and I'll get some more Leeds memorabilia from the garage and stuff. Northallerton White. You should be a professional pundit, mate. Better than Shearer and Wrighty and Defo Phil Neville. I'd hope I'll be better than that mank, mate. I'd hope so. Thank you. Marcus Beagle, I think Bielsa will stay. He built a shelter in the training ground. Yeah, well, he's got a lot of fundamental things at Ellen Road now. All of his philosophies have been built at the ground. I think if we got into the Premier League, I do think Bielsa would stay. I would hope his heart would want. I'm hoping he'd want to get Leeds to that Premier League, even if we missed out by the skin of our teeth this season, which I don't think we will. Don't jump on that. But if we did, I'm praying he'd stick with us just for that extra season. Because the guy was at Hull last night. Why you go to Hull to watch the under-23s? Who wants to be in Hull? On an evening. The guy's he's fantastic. He's brilliant. What a guy. Zandra Laporte. So Conor, the $1 million question. $1 million question. Did you get a Stoke away ticket? LOL. I didn't. I didn't, Zandra. I didn't, and I really wanted one. Especially, I had a headache for about 8 days straight after that Villa game. So I pretty much had a migraine after that because it was just nuts when we scored. It was just pandemonium. I don't know if you guys were there. If you were there, drop another like on the video. But Villa was nuts, absolutely nuts. One of the best away days I've ever been to. But I didn't get a Stoke away, and I've heard Stoke away is incredible. Once again, I've got a couple of mates in Stoke. Near Stoke anyway, the Vale fans, and they said that it's one of the brilliant away days. I love seeing the scenes in the away end as well. It's brilliant. I'd love to have gone to Stoke. If anyone of you knows, anyone who can hook me up with a ticket and I can get a lift with you, then just let me know. Andy Saxton. Didn't J-Roy recently come out saying all the negative comments online got to him? Yeah, I think he did. I mean, he's 19. He's 19. The kid, of course, he's 19, going 20 years old. I mean, what were you doing at 19? Were you getting loads of stick from Leeds fans about you're 8 foot tall and you probably got a third leg? Do you know what I mean? And all this sort of stuff. Some of the stuff I used to see online and didn't you speak about his footballing ability? He's a Dutch under-21 international. He's clearly highly rated. Joe Wainman again. Mate, you still beat Oscar. He does it in the dark. Oscar needs to sort that lighting out. He's lighting on his videos. He's shocking. He needs to sort it out. But I did buy a phone today, guys. It's a very, very good phone as well. I also bought a camera, so I'm spending that dollar to make your broadcasts a little bit better so you enjoy it a little bit more. That's what I want, especially from you guys who join. You know, I've had 170 of you join in at the most today. It's been fantastic, so thank you again. Oscar, turn your lights on. Joe, again, watch this space, mate. I may get you a Stoke ticket. Well, hopefully. That's do your duty, Wainman. Gary Keith, Bielsa watches 2 games of footy on TV simultaneously so he can absorb as much footy as possible. Craves football legend. True emotions. I did love it, especially because quite a low allocation for Stoke away. All things Leeds. I was waiting an hour to get Stoke tickets and I still had to wait another half an hour when the website opened and couldn't get any. Shambles. I guess so. Stoke's going to be great, guys, but right, I think after an hour and 20, I'm going to let it go. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I hope you're enjoying these. Joe did one yesterday. I did one for Friday Night Football, and you guys seem to absolutely love them, which is great. Please make sure to put a comment on the actual YouTube video when it's streamed. Obviously, you're putting your comments on the live chat as well, but please do that as well, because I always read them. And don't get me wrong, guys, even if I don't reply to any of your comments, or most of your comments as well, because there's so many of you, we look at every single one. So get your comments in the section. Don't be afraid to do so. Don't think, oh, none of them will see it, or even if it's a little bit of abuse or a bit of banter, so who cares? We have loads of banter within the group anyway. So I hope you've really enjoyed it. From around the world, Australia I've seen, America again, Calvary in Canada, I think Argentina with Gustavo and Marcos. Thank you once again, guys. Please, if you would, drop a like on the video, because I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it means a hell of a lot to me. Means a hell of a lot to. I watch it back sometimes. I try to think of ways that I can make it better for you, and that's what I indicate on likes, really. So thank you so much for all being here. South Africa there, Tom Otomansky, thank you, mate. It means the world for you being here. I hope you all have a brilliant week, and catch Oscar tomorrow. He's doing an All Leeds Investigates for the first time ever. But yeah, I hope you're doing fantastic. Well, have a great day and evening, sorry. And we'll be back with our previews on Tuesday. I've got a derby preview account called Kian Marley, who's brilliant. He sent me a preview, so we've done a great preview together. So that'll be, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's a really good derby vlogger. But let me know what you think of it anyway, guys. I'll catch you later. Have a